Everyone, happy Tuesday. Mardi Gras somewhere, Fat Tuesday somewhere. When I was a kid, we always had Shrove Tuesday and we ate lots of pancakes. That was what us Episcopalians did when I was a kid. Yeah, Shrove Tuesday pancake dinner. Now, wait a moment, I'm having a memory of maple syrup and butter. Right? And being really bloated at like 8 o'clock from way too many pancakes. Let's start on our backs or in a nice comfy seated shape. But if you feel like coming on your back, it's a really nice way for your back to get a little support, especially if you've been sitting upright all day. Maybe you've been in an office working or walking. Maybe you walked here. But as you come onto your back, it gives your back a little extra support. If you're at home, right, of course, use a chair if you need to. And then feeling out, creating a shape that is comfortable. So we're not really distracted by being uncomfortable. And then again, a gentle reminder that you have total and complete agency over your practice for the next 45 minutes. So if something isn't feeling safe or comfortable, please rearrange, take a rest, support yourself. And then let's take 3 nice, long, easy-ish breaths. Blending mindful self-compassion into our practices. So meaning practicing from a place of kindness to ourselves and curiosity. So inquiry and curiosity. So with that, paying attention, noticing what you notice, and just asking yourself a question here. How does it feel to be breathing in your body in this moment? And then, as you all know, in this class, we go at a pace where we can practice control and also practice patience. So sometimes we might go slowly, but you really want to go quickly. And that is that practice of patience. You can always speed up if you need to, and you can always slow down if you need to. So we're going to come on to our backs. If you're sitting in a chair, we're going to work on dead bug. So in a chair, be creative. You'll figure out your own dead bug. So here in the room, we come to our backs, we bend our knees, and then we bring our legs up towards the ceiling. And we bring our arms up to the ceiling, and we're just going to pause for a moment. So come on and try and feel a little more connection through the back of your head, into the back shoulders, through the back ribs, into the back hips, where we'll start symmetrical. So from the shoulders to the ribs to the hips, you feel how that's like a rectangle? Keep your rectangle nice and anchored. With an inhale, take your limbs out like a V and bring them back in. Now let your arms mirror your legs. So just take your arms out the same length as your legs and do 3 more. You can add internal resistance. Like if you were in water, you would be pushing out through the water and then pulling in. We inhale, go wide, and exhale, pull in. Next time your arms and legs get up to the ceiling, pause. Now just take your right arm out to the right, like 5 inches. That's not very far. Notice your back right shoulder. And then cross over to your left hip, your opposite leg hip. You're going to take your leg out just like 3 to 5 inches, not very far. And you're going to hold this for a moment because you don't want your rectangle to move. So keep your right hip and your left shoulder down. It's a lot of lefts and rights. Now pull everything back up to the ceiling. Take your left arm out just a few inches. You're incrementally going out. Go just a little bit, then take your right leg out just a little bit, just a few inches. Don't go very far. Don't let your left hip or your right shoulder move. And bring those limbs back up. Now, side to side, right arm, left leg, trying not to wobble. So this is as much about stability, keeping those back hips down and back shoulders down, as it is about mobility. Can only go out as far as you can stay anchored and stable. Go at your own pace. 3 more on each side. So I'm going to roll up and take a look around. Really try and keep those back hips down on the floor. Anchor down. Your limbs are extensions of that rectangular core. Ooh, and then bring everything back up. Slowly lower your limbs to the floor. This is a really nice time to practice kindness and curiosity, being nice to yourself. Notice how that felt, how this feels in your body, and take a couple breaths. It's okay to have tight hips. All right, one more time. Bring all your limbs up towards the ceiling. Again, if you're at home in a chair, you'll figure it out. You're really creative. Arms come up to the ceiling. Take your awareness to your back shoulders, your back ribs, and your back hips again. Notice how heavy they can feel on the ground. Stretch your right arm straight overhead towards the wall behind you. Now, don't let your arm touch the floor. You might even keep your arm in front of your ear. Okay, it doesn't have to come to the floor. Now, without popping your back ribs up or your low back, lower your left leg just a couple inches. You want to define your stability. So don't pop up your low back, lower your left leg. Now, reach your left leg forward and reach your right arm back. So your opposite limbs, and you're going to stretch and then sweep them up to the ceiling. Left arm goes back, right leg lowers. Try not to let your low back or your back ribs pop up. Stretch, reach, right toes, reach, left fingers, reach. Sweep them up to the ceiling. Go side to side. Lowering opposite leg, opposite arm. Without popping those back ribs, without popping that back up off of the floor. Go at your own pace. Less can be more. 1 or 2 more on each side. And then lower your limbs. Come back to your body. Notice what you notice and take 3 breaths. Follow your next exhale all the way through. And then we're going to figure out how to come all the way on up to standing. Each one of us finds a different way, and we come all the way on up to stand. All right, so if you're in the room, feel free to turn your mat and look out at the beautiful sunny lake. We're going to just start with our legs parallel, our arms down by our sides. As one of my teachers says, standing upright, not uptight. Right? So just give yourself a moment to stand, soften your gaze and look out. If you're at home, maybe looking out a window or looking softly, kindly, gentle eyes at the wall, and take 3 breaths. And then awareness down through your corset cummerbund, all the way down through the front, side, back of your legs into the earth. So it's easy to transfer all the way into your heels and lock your knees. So without looking down at your feet, give your knees a soft little tiny bend and shift the weight into the balls of the feet just a little bit. Shift the weight forward. See how that feels. Try to keep your toes nice and long without clawing your toes, long fluid toes. Then you're going to push your hip creases back and you're just going to tip your hips forward and just come to like a standing tabletop. And then you're going to reconnect through your feet and come right back up to standing. Kind of going back to basics today. So your pelvis tips. You don't need to move your spine a whole lot. Your spine keeps this shape. And then you come back up. All right. So let's imagine that we have like a broom handle or a long pole on our spine. So if you could put the back of your skull, if you could put your mid back, the back ribs, and say your tailbone on a pole. If you're at home, you could use a broom handle for this. If you have a pole, you could go home and practice this tonight. You're going to bend your knees a little bit again. Bring the weight into the front of your foot, and you could bring your hands back and pretend you're holding a pole. Or you could keep your hands to your side, your choice. But as you tip, can you feel those 3 points of contact? Tailbone, mid back, back of your head. So this means your spine is going a little more into your back body. Not letting your spine fall forward. Let's try 2 or 3 more. Just looking around, that works really well. I think your muscle memory is great. We have a lot less rounding, right? It's really easy to fold forward and really round and hug in. So as I look around, people are nice and wide across the shoulders, nice and wide across their backs. Great, we're going to come all the way on up and take a breath. Bring your hands onto your front thigh bones. Now, same exercise. You're going to push your hip creases back. You're going to find that table. And then as you go over, shoulders go lower. See where you feel your low back start to round. You might go low and touch your shin ankles. And then come all the way back up. We're just going to do 2 of these. I'm going to be really quiet. Bring the weight out into the balls of your feet. Fold forward, and again, be curious. When do you feel your spine, your low back start to round? After this one, come on up and refine standing mountain pose. Soften your arms down by your side, soften your gaze, and give yourself 2 breaths. And we're going to step your feet nice and wide. So again, you can face me or you can look out at the lake. Toes are going to face forward. Bring your hands on the outside of your thigh bones. And you're going to push your legs out into your arms, and you're going to push your arms into your legs. Okay. So really push out towards the edges of your toes. So you're pushing out into that lateral edge of your foot. Excuse me. And then you're pulling your legs isometrically in with your arms. And same thing, you're going to tip at your hip and come back up. 2 more. Bring the weight out into the balls of the feet a little more. Like you had that pull along your spine. Next time you fold forward, go all the way over and start to notice where your back starts to round. So now taking your shoulders lower towards the floor. Do you feel your low back start to round? Head can hang. And then come all the way back up. And we'll wait for everyone standing. Take about 2 or 3 breaths. Left leg's going to roll in slightly, right leg rolls out. You go heel to heel. Hands come up on the front of your pelvic crest. Lift your pelvic crest up and connect into your corset cummerbund. So we didn't do this on our backs. Imagine you have that corset cummerbund on. It wraps all the way front, side, back. With an inhale, bend your right knee. With an exhale, straighten. 3 breaths, 3 times. Great. Next time your right knee's bent, pause. Bring your fingertips either to the front of your hip bones or bring your fingertips up to your chest. Soften. Soften your gaze again. Soften your jaw. Practice softening your chest. 2 breaths. Then exhale, straighten your right leg. Right leg rolls in, left leg rolls out. Heel to heel. Hands come back. Lift the front of your hip bones up. Inhale, bending. With your breath. Exhale, straighten. 2 more breaths. Next time your left knee's bent, pause. Bring your fingertips either into your hip bones or up towards your chest. Soft fingers, soft shoulders. Practice softening your gaze. 2 breaths. Pressing into the earth to straighten your left leg. Both toes, both feet turn around towards the front of your mat. Hands come back out to the legs. Push your legs out. Push in and push out. Draw your hip creases back. Wide leg tabletop, forward fold. And then go all the way over. Notice your low back. Push into your feet. Anchor down. Come all the way back up. One more time. Left leg rolls in. Right leg rolls out. Heel to heel. Bending your right knee. Pause. All right. So again, give yourself a moment to have some muscle memory. Okay, imagine you have that pull between your shoulders, the back of your head, and your tailbone. You can even bring your arms back if you want. You can make like a big T. Bring your one hand behind your head, one hand on your tailbone. Right? Imagine you had a pull. Now you're going to tip to your side angle, trying to feel that pull in your along your back and then come back up. So you're just tipping at your hip and coming on up, trying to keep your head, your mid back, and your tailbone in your awareness. 3 tips. Come all the way on up. Straighten your right leg, come back around to the front. Great. Hands come to your hips. 2 breaths. Bring your arms out to your side. Okay, bend your right elbow, like do a bicep curl. Bring your right head and just float it behind your skull. Bend your left hand, bring your left arm down, kind of like a scarecrow, and bring your hand onto your lower back. Oh. Now let your spine drop back, knit your ribs down and back, get into your corset. Right leg rolls in, left leg rolls out. Bend that left knee. Great. Tip at that hip and come back up 3 times. If this is way too much on your shoulders, bring your hands back to your hips. It's fine. We're just trying to have these hands back here to kind of mimic us holding that pole. Last one. Come all the way back on up. Straighten your left leg. Bring your hands back to your hips. Step your feet together. Arms hang down by your side. Notice what you notice. Come back to your experience. This is where you get to practice being kind to yourself. Practice inquiry, curiosity. How's this going for you? How are you feeling? Acknowledging. Responding to how you're feeling. 3 breaths. And then turning to face the front of your mat. Okay. Back of your head, mid back, tailbone. Okay. Feeling those points as you sweep your arms out to come up. As you take your hip creases back, keeping that spine in your back body, long, strong, slow forward fold. You can put your hands on a chair or table if you're at home. Step your feet back, build your downward facing dog. Okay, I promise we won't be on hands and knees for very long. Come on down, build your tabletop. Now, remind yourself there's a lot of ways you can do tabletop. You don't have to use the floor. Even if you're in the room, okay? If tabletop hurts your wrists, okay, and you're here in the room, come down on your forearms. You can try this, or you can come back on up to stand and come right here. You did tabletop. All right, so you could do a standing tabletop if you want. If you're at home, you can use a chair. If you're in the room, you can use the ledge along the lake, okay? So this is going to be our baseline shape for a moment. Imagine again, you have that pole. So those 3 points of contact. Another way we can maybe feel this in our body is through our ears, in line with our shoulders, through our ribs into your hip bones. Take 2 breaths. All right, now pull your belly button up and round your low back. This is what happens when we fold over and touch our toes. We round the low back. It's like a low back cat. Then come back to your table. One more time. Draw your belly button way up, round your low back. This is also like tucking your pelvis, tucking your tailbone. Great, and then back to your tabletop. Here's your challenge. Can you keep your spine in tabletop as you go up and back to downward facing dog? Okay, so let your shoulders naturally slide out of your ears. Some of us are hiking way up. Let your shoulders come down, float your knees up, and then slowly go back to your down dog. Some of us might need to really bend the knees to feel more of that midline neutral spine. You could imagine you have the pole, or you could keep your ears, ribs, hips in a line. 3 breaths. Your choice, either come forward to a straight arm plank. Straight arm plank's a little easier if you take your legs out really wide. You can come down to tabletop. You could come to a child's pose. If you're in tabletop or straight arm plank, come back to that awareness of the skull mid back and tailbone, or ears, shoulders, ribs, and hips. 3 breaths. We all go back to downward facing dog. And then we're going to come up to standing. You do you, however you want to come on up. Maybe you take a step forward and take your hands back. There's no one perfect way to do it. We come all the way on up and then find that high 5 big mountain stretch and let your arms come down. And we come back to our bodies breathing for about 5 breaths. So we get about 5-10 seconds here. All right, look down at your feet. Step your feet about as wide as your hips. Okay, ears, shoulders, ribs, hips. Okay, it's easy for your head to pop forward or to splay and push the ribs forward. Okay, so ribs dropping down and in. Maybe you feel it a little bit different from the head to the mid back to the tailbone. Bend your knees. So take your hip creases back. Drop your bum a little bit. Now bring the weight into your heels. Okay, you can bring your arms out in front of you. Bring your hands together. From right here, push your hip creases back and just tip and come back up 3 times. See how you're hinging at your hips, trying to keep your rectangle a rectangle. There you go. Next time you come up, pause. Find your chair. Keep your arms here, or if you want more challenge, take your arms up. Everyone finds just the right challenge. You might need to straighten your legs a little more. You might take your hip creases back a little more. 3 breaths. Push into your heels, come all the way on up, swing your arms all the way back. Swing your arms forward, chair. Come all the way on up, swing your arms back, 2 more. You're inhaling down, exhaling up. Last one. Come back to your mountain pose, just 3 breaths. All right, let's all turn to face the lake because it's so beautiful out there. It's finally another sunny day. All right, come up into your upper back. Feel your shoulder blades. And try and feel those shoulder blades yoke onto your back. They knit onto your back, nice and strong upper backs. Then come down, you're connecting upper back into corset cummerbund. Okay, we're going to just pick up your left heel. Okay, left heel stays up. Push your hip creases back, a little bit of like a chair squat. Bring your hands back out in front. Fingertips can come together, soft fingers. Okay, so you're going to lift your right knee up and try and balance on that right leg for about 5 breaths. Then put that left foot back down slowly. Switch legs. Bend your right knee. Keep in your chair. Pick up your right foot a little bit. Doesn't have to lift very high. Look out at the lake if you're in the room. If you're at home, look out in front of you. Put your right foot back on the floor. Even out the weight, right leg, left leg. Push into your heels, come all the way on up. Swing your arms back. Sweep your arms way up to the ceiling. Hip creases go back, build your chair. Exhale, fold forward, step back, downward facing dog. One time, just come down to tabletop. Realign ears, ribs, hips. Find neutral spine, like if you had a pull on the mid back, your skull, and your tailbone. Can you keep tabletop spine, neutral spine, as you lift your knees and go back to downward facing dog? Bend your knees. Can you even feel the remnants? Little bits of tabletop here in your down dog. 3 breaths. Exhale, hands and feet walk together. However that needs to happen for you, come all the way on up. Do your nice, big, strong, high 5 stretch. Bring your arms down. Give yourself a 3 breath break just to come back, to feel your breath. Notice what you notice from a place of kindness, curiosity. Be nice to yourself. All right, then we're going to turn to face the lake again because it's really nice outside. Find your chair squat. Draw those hip creases back. Take your arms out in front of you. Lift your left heel. Maybe pick up your left leg, balance on that right leg. Okay, keep your legs right where they are. Just bring your hands into your hips and step your left foot all the way back and come and build a high lunge. Okay, so your right knee's out in front of you bent, your left leg is behind you, and your left heel's lifted. Come back to the pole idea or the ears over your shoulders, ribs, and hips. So we're also learning to feel our bodies in space. So is your head really pitched forward? Are you pushing your belly button forward? You could also think of nose, chin, sternum, belly button. Okay, there's lots of ways for us to understand midline stability. Arms are going to sweep forward and up. You get 2 more breaths here. Bring your fingertips together. You can stay right here or pull your hip creases back and tip forward into a projected lunge. Can you feel that awareness in your back body again? Back of your skull, mid-back tailbone. Try not to round your back. Up to high lunge. You got it. This is hard. Step your feet together and put your left foot down, arms hang. Give yourself a 3 breath break. Sun salutation. Exhale, sweep your arms out and up. Pull your hip creases back, long spine, fold forward. Step back, downward facing dog. Everybody bend your knees. See if you can start to feel again, back of your head, mid back, tailbone. What would down dog feel like if you had a pole? Somebody was holding a pole on the back of your skull, your mid back, and your tailbone. Can you let your spine come towards your back body into that pole for 2 more breaths? Then your feet and hands walk together. Come all the way on up. Do a nice big high 5 stretch. Bring your arms down. Give yourself a 3, 4, 5 breath standing meditation break. Then you lift your right heel. Come into chair. Hands can be right together. Maybe arms come up. Maybe you balance, pick up that right knee. So maybes are always progressions. You got to build your high lunge. Right leg's going to step back. Hands are going to come into your hips. Shift your weight as you need to. Understand how you understand midline. So ears, shoulders, ribs, hips. Nose, chin, sternum, belly button. Maybe it's more the pull. Take a couple moments, take a couple breaths. Without looking, make sure that back heel's lifted and you might stretch your arms up to the ceiling. Now, when your arms went up, did you lose midline? Did you push your chest forward? Then fingertips come together, you go to projected lunge. Your hip creases pull straight back. You might have already noticed, right? The further you take your chest over, the harder it gets in that left hip. You got it. 2 more breaths. All the way back up. Load your left hip, load your left leg, step your right leg up. Both feet come down. Oh, it feels so good to have both feet on the floor. 3 breaths. How we doing? How you doing way back there? You good? Exhale, sweep your arms out and up. Pull your hip creases back, long spine, fold forward. Skip it or step back, downward facing dog. You can always skip down dog. You can always come to standing meditation. 3 breaths. Exhale, walk your feet up to your hands. Hands back to your feet, however it works for you. Come all the way on up. Do a nice high 5 stretch. Arms to your side. Sweep your arms back, chair pose. Sweep your arms forward and up. Lift your heels. Sweep your arms back, chair. One more time. Sweep your arms up, lift your heels. Great. It will be most challenging to keep your heels up, a little less challenging as you fold forward if you put your heels down. So you can fold forward, heels up or heels down. And then come all the way back up. Whoa. And bring your arms down, 3 breaths. Great. Lift your left heel. Bring your left heel onto your right ankle. Ears, shoulders, ribs, hips. Right? Maybe you kickstand. Maybe you're pulling your left leg way up. Build your balance. And this is really a practice of mindful self-compassion. Build your balance from a place of kindness and curiosity. Maybe your arms come out and up. Maybe you close your eyes. And then you bring both feet down. When you bring both feet down, you're going to take your left leg back. And you're going to swing your left arm, or your right arm, sorry, underneath. And bring your arms up. Maybe in a cross like this. Maybe you bring your knuckles together. Maybe your palms come together. Take your hip creases back like chair. Pull your elbows, forearms up. 3 breaths. Little bit of eagle pose. You're going to unwrap this. And you're going to take a big standing mountain stretch and then 1 forward fold. You're going to come right back up. And find standing mountain upright, not uptight, for 3 breaths. When your left ankle comes on your right. Oh, your right goes on your left, right? Yes. Whew. I've been doing this for weeks now. Thank you. Need lots of helpers. Maybe you kickstand. Right? Find your balance. Maybe close your eyes. Hey, we close your eyes, it's all over. All right, bring both feet down, right? Then your right leg goes behind. So your left arm goes behind. Little version of eagle pose. Elbows can lift up. right? Remind yourself it shouldn't hurt your back. This is where that curiosity part comes in. Be curious, is this pinching somewhere in your back? Do you need to adjust? And exhale when you're ready, unwrap. Ooh, bring everything back, standing mountain. One full sun salutation. So you can skip at any part. You can rest. You can go through the whole sun salutation. Okay. I say one, but we might try and cram in two. Okay. Exhale, sweep your arms out and up. Go a little faster. Fold forward. Step your feet back. Skip, drop, do whatever you need. You're going to go to down dog. You're going to come forward, either tabletop or straight arm plank. Drop your knees to the floor. Pull your chest forward and up. Shoulders draw down out of your ears. That's it. Curl your toes under, lift up. Go back through plank to down dog. You're just going to take 2 breaths. Walk your hands and feet together. Come all the way on up. Do a full stretch. Remember, you don't have to stay with the group. Fold forward. Step back, downward facing dog. Stop whenever you need to stop. Tabletop or straight arm plank. Knees come down, pull your chest forward and up. Shoulders down out of your ears. Curl your toes under, go back up through plank. Downward facing dog, 2 breaths. Hands and feet walk together. All the way up, big mountain stretch. You got one more, we can cram in 3. Fold forward. Step back, downward facing dog. Tabletop or straight arm plank. Lower your knees, pull your chest forward and up, up dog. Exhale, curl your toes, plank, downward facing dog. So we will all meet in down dog or tabletop. Then we'll come down to table. Remember your options if this hurts your wrists. And 3 cat-cows. Round. Vertebra by vertebra into your cow. Vertebra by vertebra into your cat. Imagine your vertebrae were beads on a string. You're trying to move each bead through your cat-cow. After this one, come back to tabletop. Great. And then come all the way back onto your back. So we're going to end up back on our backs like how we started, or sitting in a chair if you're at home and prefer a chair. And you're going to bring your feet straight up towards the ceiling. And just give the back of your legs a little hamstring attention. And point and flex in your ankles a little bit. So just point and flex, maybe do some figure 8s. And then bend your knees. Don't blend your knees. Bend your knees and bring your feet to the floor. Now find the back of your head, your mid-back, and your tailbone, like if you had a pole. We started most challenging. We started standing up. Now you come back all the way to basics. Find the head. Find your mid-back and your tailbone, and let those 3 points of contact release into your mat. With each exhale, let the back of your head, your mid-back, and your tailbone release a little more. Now, one more time, without moving your head, mid-back, or tailbone, take your legs up to the ceiling and do one more hamstring stretch. When your legs go up, did you keep your tailbone down? Great. Externally rotate your legs, bring your heels together. Then go out wide, down, around, and up 3 times. Don't move your tailbone, mid-back, or your head. Just do some big circles with your legs, opening, stretching through your hips and your pelvic floor. Next time you sweep your legs up, you can hang out in a hamstring stretch. And then with an exhale, bend your knees and let your feet come to the floor. Great. Full body stretch. Reach your arms overhead. We always take the last minute or so for self-care. You might come to Shavasana, mindful rest. You might come to your breathing and let your breath be an anchor for a minute of meditation. You might do your favorite stretch. We'll take the last minute here in silence, taking care of ourselves. Just coming back to your body breathing. If you're moving, keep moving. We're just going to pay attention and take 2 long exhales. And then as you acknowledge and feel your next exhale, draw your knees into your chest. You might rock a little bit side to side. Roll over to the easiest side and pause. If you're in a chair, just kind of sit forward a little bit and take 2 breaths through your back. Nice big back lung breathing, breathing into the back of the ribs and the lungs. And then rolling all the way on up to sitting. When you get up, just sweep your arms out and up. Give everyone a high five. Thanks for showing up today. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Have a fabulous rest of the week. See you Friday. Thank you.